Yes, yes. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. My girl, and say, this is. All right. First, you have us lined up to come into the dialysis center. Then you take our temperature. All right. Then you don't have enough masks. You don't have enough gloves or anything. And I mean, germs just up and flying all over the place. I don't know what y'all thinking or what y'all doing. You know what I mean? You know, I ain't supposed to be in quarantine. I came to dialysis in good faith, rode in some crummy transportation to get here. And what really got me, the other people that's coming in the center is not even being checked or tested. Now, what's going on here? I'm going to have to make a phone call. I'm going to have to make a complaint. I got to do something because I'm not checking the coronavirus. That's right, I'm not. So I'm just going to have to make a phone call. I'm going to call my girl. I'm going to call the people, the urban health or whatever, that good thing. What's her name? Lisa Baxter. That's right, because this is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. Hello, guys. How are you and how you doing? Happy Palm Sunday. Welcome to the Lisa Baxter Show. I tried to put you in a different area of the room, but I think my shoes are showing. Hey, it's a reality show. So what we going to do, what we going to say, and we are live. But I have a fantabulous guest for you. A wonderful guest I've been trying to get since maybe a year or two ago, but I'm glad I got him now. He stepped up to the plate. Let me introduce him for you. That's right. I'm telling you right now. This guy is the president of AAKP. Not only is he the president, right? He's a kidney transplant warrior. This guy is bad. You hear me? You're going to hear his words, his testimony, and you're going to hear what he has to say. He's going to help me to give you that extra 411. His name is Richard Knight. Hey, Richard.
Hey, Lisa. How you doing?
Hey, I'm alive and kicking.
I'm glad we finally get a chance to. I'm glad we finally get a chance to sit down and talk.
Yes.
It's only been 2 years.
Well, I don't know, Rich. When you gave me that award thing, it was in 2015 when we were in Kentucky. That's how where we first met. So I was I was really grateful for that, meeting you and meeting all the other people in AAKP. I was just so happy to be there and learn so much, so many workshops and stuff like that. And hopefully we're going to touch on some of that, those events that you guys do, and the different things that y'all do and the excellent new things that you guys are doing. So let's breathe and let's get the ball rolling. All right. First of all, tell us what you do at AAKP. Now, I know you're the president.
One individual. Huh?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
One individual says, I do what presidents do. But really, Lisa, I do a lot of different things, and it's not me. It's just really working with the team. I've been fortunate as I've gone through this journey. I mean, I've been through that which everyone else has been through, the shock, the pain, the discomfort, the highs and the lows. Then you finally get a transplant. I was fortunate enough to do that. And, Lisa, upon reflection, and my journey really started back in 1986 when I was trying to buy insurance, and I couldn't get it. And they told me I couldn't get it because I had protein in my urine, which I had no idea what that was. And my doctor didn't really explain it to me. But you asked me what I do. Educate and advocate. Because of those early experiences that I had, I said, something? We can do better than this. Some people, I call them half empties. They sit around and complain about everything.
Yes.
And I choose to put my energy into trying to do something about it. And the best thing that I know to do to arm our fellow patients is try to arm them with some information. And there's a lot of bad information floating around, particularly now So as an organization, we spend a lot of time because we're patients, we're not doctors. So we have a
Right.
medical advisory board.
Mm-hmm.
I probably spend more time talking with doctors than I do with my colleagues out at the university in my area of business, medical doctors, that is, and
Mm-hmm.
always trying to get an update of what's going on, what new advances there might be, what new medical devices, what new drugs there might be that can help improve our situation. And then from an organization perspective, how can we better communicate that information out to the many patients that are ready and willing to receive the information? So
Mm.
I tell you, I'm kind of a cheerleader for our team. We've got a great staff and my fellow officers who work just as hard as I do. Um, the main thing is we have a vision and we're constantly trying to implement that vision and do things. I just say it all the time from a patient perspective that are in the best interest of the patient.
Mm. Well, it takes teamwork to make the dream work. So it's a blessing to have a good team, because sometimes you can have the best intentions and the best ideas, but that everything start clashing. So if you meshing
That's right.
well with your team, that's a good plus right there. I ain't mad at you. That's a very good plus right there. You know. So what is it like in the day of the president? What is it like? Okay, you left the house and you're in your place of business or your organization. What happens then? What is it like?
Okay. Well, really, it's like it's not about leaving the house. It's waking up early in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
getting on the computer,
Okay.
checking some emails.
Okay.
I typically have a lot of information to write. So I'm constantly researching, pulling down information, trying to get updated, as I said before, updated information. And then when
Mm.
I write it, quite frankly, I have to. Now, you're familiar with medical information as much as anybody. And I have to take that medical information and try to break it down into something that's going to be a little bit more palatable for myself and our fellow patients. Then it's a question of a series of phone calls. We have a lot of conference calls. All the things that we do, we're not funded as some of these groups are. We don't receive funds from some of the larger organizations. We work with a lot of industry players. We're constantly talking with them, bringing them up to speed on our agenda, what we're doing, things that we can do to help them out, and they in turn help us out by sponsoring us. Then it may be
Mm.
a question of course, we got a lot of committees. As president, I'm on the finance committee. So we always got to stay on top of the finances, checking the financial statements. Um,
Mm.
I'm also on the communication committee, and we do a lot of work. Paul Conway, thankfully, is heading up our public policy committee, but I also stay involved in that. And that's an area that has people that are dedicated entirely to that. We pretty much don't deal with state issues, more or less national issues. In
Mm.
a day, all those things I just talked about, all of those things can take place.
Wow.
And
Well, were you? Oh,
meetings.
go ahead. Were you
I was
leaving the
going to say,
house
mhm.
before the coronavirus going there, or you always work from the house?
Well, I work from the house. I teach at a university that's about 10 miles down the street, about 10, 15
Right.
minutes from me. But
Mm-hmm.
my most of my classes are in the evening, and I will go over there for different meetings during the day. So I do get up. Sometime I have to have meetings with students. So I'll go on over there to the university. But I do like to get up and get out the house. It could be out for a walk because all
Yeah.
this stuff that we're doing, we still need to maintain some type of physical shape. Although I
Oh,
could
sure.
use to lose about 25.
Been
But
there, done that. I know
and,
that's
and for the
right.
most part,
I know. I believe you. I
a constant
understand.
challenge.
Yes, I know it
And
is.
and,
I
and the
really
other
know.
thing too is
Mm.
it's a lot of travel. I mean, I was just up in New York on March 6th,
Wow.
and I came there from Arizona, and I was up in New York and had a good chance and had the good opportunity to be in a meeting with somebody who had been found to have the coronavirus. So I had to come back here and quarantine myself for 14 days, which I did. But again, there's a lot
Thank
of
you.
travel involved, a lot of conferences, a lot of meetings, and all those take. Anytime I go to something, I want to be prepared. We have to
Of
be
course,
prepared.
of course. Well, I know you're a professor, and that's what I know. I saw that you were a professor at that university, and what I wanted to ask, well, when they told you came in contact with somebody and you had to be quarantined, how did you feel about that? Were you afraid or scared or anything?
Not at all, because to be honest with you, well, let's be totally honest. My thought was that it had been 3 days. I got the email about 3 days, and with our compromised immunity system, I thought if I
Yeah.
had something that it would show up very soon. So after
Mm,
4 or 5 days and nothing happened, I thought that I was okay. So let me just say this: I was
yeah.
concerned. I was concerned, but I've learned that you don't live your life in fear. You do the best that you can do. So I stayed in,
Yes.
follow the instructions, wash my hands on a regular basis, all the things that
Yes.
they were telling you to do, wiped everything down. And since it's just me here, and I have
Yes.
a one bedroom apartment, and since it's just me here, I still continue to wipe down and everything. And fortunately, my son helped me out with getting groceries and my meds. So I really didn't
Yes.
have a lot of reason to go out,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, at
I
least you
could
didn't
do
have
my
cabin fever.
classes.
At
Yes,
least you didn't have
and I
cabin
could.
fever. I used to get that
Oh,
way when I stayed in the
well.
house too long. You know.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I got a nice view here, um, looking out, and I guess because I'm so busy, I don't really think about cabin fever that much. I mean, on a regular, when I don't have a
Yeah.
lot of meetings, sometimes
Right.
I may be in the house for 2 days without going outside. So this is just an extended version, and I really don't give it that much thought.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'm working from home since we had to stay in, so I'm working from
Hmm.
home, and I've been so busy myself between that and working on my sixth book and just taking care of my family, making sure they're good, having our little prayer conferences and stuff like that. Spending more time with God and learning some stuff I didn't know before.
Absolutely,
All of that. You got to make use of this time. You know what I mean? Spend more time with
absolutely.
family, spend more time with God, and learn something you could have learned when you was too busy to learn it.
That's right.
So
That's right.
now,
And the main thing is, I talk with. Well, go ahead. You ask your question, Lisa. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. We riding this thing all the way and we driving together. Go ahead.
No, what I was going to tell you, one thing that I do, Lisa, is that I tend to be a positive person, and I
Okay,
spend a lot of time. I don't spend a lot of time dwelling on the negative.
good.
This coronavirus is a very good example. We have our leaders pointing fingers at each other, and I say that's
Wow,
not really relevant. We need to focus on what we need to do to move forward and get out of this situation. I'm
that's right.
particularly
Right.
concerned about African Americans. We don't have some of the support that we should have.
Mm,
Our health overall, forget kidney issues, but overall, people have weight, diabetes, heart issues, things of that nature is not good. And unfortunately, many of us have jobs that, based on the situation now, they can't exactly do the jobs at home. So that puts an extra level of stress. So certainly
yeah,
trying to talk people to keep them motivated, keep them thinking positive, because negative energy is very draining, and that creates stress. And we all know from going through what we've been through, we have enough stress that we have to deal with. So,
yeah,
like you said, in terms of doing some reading, in terms of looking at something and learning something that you haven't before. And I am not the one that attends church as regular as I should, but I certainly do believe in a higher being and a higher power. And I do spend a lot of times being thankful for what I have and just asking for patience and strength. No
mm,
need to ask for any
yeah,
material things. I believe that if I have the strength to go forward and the patience, that I'll be able to handle most of that which is thrown at me. And so a lot of my friends who are older may not be in the best shape in the world. Hey man, stay focused, get up, do not succumb to sitting there in that chair and watching TV all day.
Mm.
Read something, write something, touch base with your family, like you're doing. You can do a face-to-face now. If you got an iPhone, you can do FaceTime. If you got an
Android too.
Android, you can do
That's
Dual
right. Mm-hmm.
or Zoom. So
FaceTime
that
them or
there's no.
something, you know what I mean?
That's right.
And they'll
So
be
that you
glad
can
to
really
hear
be in
from you.
touch. So it's kind of absolutely.
They'll be
And
glad
now's
to
a
hear.
good time to do it because we're not spending that time out in traffic. You know, my utility bill's a little bit higher, but my gas
So you're home all day.
bill definitely went down.
Yeah. You know, you might not eat as much, but you know, you might burn up more lights and stuff like that. Now, Richard, how long you was on dialysis when you was on dialysis?
I was on dialysis a little bit over 2 years.
Okay. How was that
And
experience?
that experience was, as I tell people, insightful. It
Okay.
humbled me, made me a better person, made me appreciate good health, but it also gave me the insights about the process and about the system. And, you know, as medical doctors will look at your body, they'll look at your blood, they'll take a look at your urine, and they'll be able to make some type of assessment. Well, that's what I do with businesses. I look at how they operate. I look at the processes and the procedures. I look at how it's structured. I understand the funding. And it was very, very clear to me that the dialysis business is a business. And there are many things. I'm not saying that things are being done against patients, but there are things that can be done better for patients, but there's a cost to them. So if we accept certain things, then that's what we'll get. You know, you've been around the system and you've got many friends. And I always tell people, everybody doesn't want to go home and everybody shouldn't be at home. But the point is, the patient should have the choice.
Of course.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Not your doctor telling you to go over here, because in many instances, you're not even told. I was not told about home dialysis. No idea. And I was a perfect candidate. While I was on dialysis, I continued to work. I was president of a Boys and Girls Club, on a board of a large chamber of commerce, and very active. I was fortunate that I was able to continue doing that. Many other patients aren't, and they would do much better. Well, my body, as the doctor told me, Mr. Knight, you're very healthy. You just don't have any kidneys. So you have no comorbidities. You're just in great shape, but high blood pressure has taken away your kidneys. Wow. And I had an operation back in 1983 where I received these very powerful antibiotics. And one doctor told me that as a result of those powerful antibiotics 6 times a day, 10, 6, and 2 around the clock, to get rid of a infection that I had in my foot. That also caused damage to my kidneys when they look back in retrospect. But at the time, they were trying to save my foot, which they did.
I know the feeling.
I was told back then. Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
No, I had Steven Johnson syndrome, and I got that from some antibiotics that I had too, and my organs had started to shut down, and I almost died in '99. You know, I had 2 terrible things happen to me in '99. I had broke 4 things in my neck. Don't even want to go there. But I said that to say this because I identified with what you were saying about antibiotics and it's bothering you. But polycystic kidney disease is what killed my kidneys. But I had some other things that tried to kick it out along the way. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, but well, how long did you have the transplant?
October 2006.
Well, good for you.
So
come on
roughly
here.
About 13 and a half years, going on 14. Wow.
I'm going on my 4th year, June 29th. So yeah, so kudos to you and blessings to you that you've doing this good thing, lasting this long. And I'm kudos, sure that's one of the things that makes you. Thank you. That's probably what makes you so passionate about what you do.
Lisa, you and your family have been through so much more than I have. I get humbled around most patients because they have been through so much. And like yourself, you are still out here battling, supporting, advocating, teaching, motivating. And when I go to the meetings and I'm around all these patients and I hear their stories, I'm just humbled. And my point is that I am fortunate and that I have a background and a training to be able to do some of the things that I can do. And it's a pleasure to work with and serve the group of people in our organization and those outside the organization that are interested. When I look into their eyes and I see that they've been ill served, it just makes my blood boil.
Don't it?
But the strategy is, it does. But like we talked about before, I can't get mad and blow up. I've got to use that energy to figure out how we can go forward. And the way that I figured out, we have what we call a national strategy. Paul Conway and myself developed for AKB back in 2014. We continue to implement it. And we were very humbled. Back in 2017, we received the President's Medal from ASN, which is something that they give to those who are passionate and rise above the challenge and really exhibit and have an impact on the patient community. To show you the significance of it, the year before, 2 congressmen received it. So I said, well, you know, as much as I talk about the congressmen, I have the greatest respect for them because they do have a tough job. Surely. And so anytime you can be considered worthy of receiving something that they have, it's a very humbling and positive thing. And it's just a sign, I believe, that we were on the right track in terms of making changes. Not just with patients. It's a big honor, Lisa. And like yourself, we're not just dealing with patients, we're dealing with the healthcare community overall. Oh, yeah. You know, letting doctors understand that patients have a different perspective. Letting people that run these organizations, I say, I disagree. That's not a healthcare problem. That's a management problem. And and now I can suggest you what might be done to fix it. And it's it's what we have to do.
And you got to do everything you can with this, you know, instead of letting the illness beat you up and beat you down. This is your chance to take it somewhere else, learn something about it. I always say, I don't care what illness you're dealing with, learn something about it and from it, and then run with it. Do something, make some changes, find out. There's organizations for every illness or sickness. If it ain't an organization, it's an association. If it ain't an association, it's a foundation. You know what I mean? So
that's right.
I know with AAKP, you have a health ambassador, because I'm one for Rogerson. Besides being a social worker for 24 years, I'm a health ambassador with Rogerson, but I know AAKP offers that position or a job and volunteering and what have you. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And is there any website you can say?
Well, if you go to AAKP's website and go to the page on ambassador, there's a page on the ambassador program. And essentially what that is, Lisa, is we have a number of patients that want to be more engaged. And we came up with a program where we brought them into the fold. They're involved in our national strategy. And I think now we probably have about 150 of them.
Wow.
And we have them in each state. And we also have them in other countries, India and several other countries overseas, because there's a lot of things going on overseas and we're continuing to expand our reach. But, you know, one thing that legislators respond to is numbers. Last week, as a matter of fact, we had over 500 letters that were sent up to Capitol Hill. We were involved in a virtual Hill Day. So we pick issues and we have these ambassadors participate virtually. They can write letters, they can post, they can use Twitter. And then locally, we have some ambassadors that start support groups. They provide knowledge and education. They may visit a dialysis center. We've got some, good friend of mine, Toronto, has a support group that deals with veterans. VTA, the Veterans Transplantation Association.
Yes.
So we also have a Veterans Health Initiative, but he's got a separate support group, and we support all that. Our goal, we want to help you. If you want to be engaged and you want to do something, we want to help you figure out what it is, give you some support, give you some ideas, give you some
Yeah.
direction,
Oh
and
yeah.
let you
Good.
go forward and do it.
Mm-hmm. Now that's wonderful.
You
Now
know,
that's what I'm talking about, and that's what it's all about. I mean, you try a little bit of everything because I do the kidney walks, the Donors Network, the National Kidney Foundation, even Get Your Rear in Gear, Colon Cancer Foundation. You got to know what your cause is or what your family's dealing with, what you're dealing with. Maybe you're not dealing with none of those things and just want to be a blessing and help. Sometimes you just got to get involved.
yep,
You know what I mean? Because sometimes this
absolutely.
stuff comes to your door and you don't have a clue about what it's about or what it is, and you panic, but you wouldn't have to if you just do your homework or watch Urban Health. How about that?
Yeah. Well,
Or
you know,
join
Urban
AAKP.
Health is providing a great service
Yes, it
because you
is.
know you're spreading information. You're sharing information. You get folks like yourself, Steve, Jared, who I was on with last week, and it's a great group of
Yeah.
people, talented,
Oh, I was
a
watching. I
talented
was
group of
watching.
people.
Yes. Tamika, Steve, Jared, Dawn. We got
Absolutely,
a big family there.
absolutely,
Uncle
big
Jim.
family,
That's
and
right.
it's growing.
Oh, it's
Uncle
growing. It's
Jim.
growing. I'm trying to think in my head so I don't forget anything anybody because we really are a family, and it was bigger, and then it got like this, and it got even bigger, but it's powerful. No matter what size we are, we're powerful, and we something to reckon with. You know what I'm saying? So, to
That's right.
God be the
Sharing
total glory.
information,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Uh, yeah. Go ahead.
I want to emphasize this. A lot of things are being shut down, programs, meetings, and things of that nature.
Sure.
We're gonna have a global summit. As a matter of fact, on May 1st, we're gonna have hyperkalemia day, high potassium day, and we're doing
Sure.
that virtually. So we have an
Wow.
awareness program going on. Again,
Love it.
COVID-19 is here, but we still need to be educated and understand different things. And we decided to focus on potassium because that's something very subtle. People don't know about it, but we know if you have too much of it, it can certainly be detrimental to you and
Oh yeah.
ultimately have an impact on your heart. So we're doing
Definitely.
that on May 1st, and it's going to be virtually. Then on May 8th through the 10th, I believe, we're having our global summit. We're going to continue to do that. We'll have speakers. It'll be um, we'll have it posted, and people will be
Yeah.
able to call in and ask questions. And again, it's going to be broadcast. Last year was broadcast in 52 countries, and we
Wow.
look to exceed that number this year.
I love
And
it.
with this virus that's going on, this is something. I mean, because that's a global pandemic, so it really fits into the
Yeah.
theme of
It
a
fits right in.
global summit, so that we can talk
Mhm.
about that and what
Wow.
we could
Yes.
and what we
Well,
should be doing.
yes.
So we're going to continue to educate.
Wow. And you got to
Just
do
going
that. I'm
to
glad you're doing that
virtual.
too.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. You guys are powerful. You know what I mean? Powerful. Now, talk about some of the classes when you had everybody come. When we met in Tennessee, and then you just had something where Urban Health had got awarded. Tell us a little bit about that. When is the next one? And so people may want to join or come or prepare if we still going or having it. God help us all.
Are you? I think you may be referring to our annual national patient meeting. That's
Yeah,
that's
that's
going to
it.
be in that's going to be in September.
Right.
That's going to be at the Omni Showroom in Washington D.C. It's an
Uh-huh.
election here. We're holding it in D.C. again, and
Wow.
I'll tell you this, and you can certainly help us. Um, we're con-
Sure.
we're making certain we generally do things in a 2 month window. So that's in September. So we'll be looking in July to see the status of that. And if we need to change it to something
Sure.
virtual, we will. We're hoping that the situation will be resolved enough so that we can actually be in a position of hosting it. And we plan on
Mm-hmm.
having a lot of patients from DC and Baltimore. I'm out trying to work these dialysis facilities because we will even rent a bus if I can get enough of them at a facility and bring them to this meeting
Wow.
because it's very important that
I
these
love it.
patients in dialysis get access to education and information. I
Yes.
always tell
Yes.
people you need to learn what you learn, because once you go into the dialysis facility, for a number of reasons, your education process generally stops. You're dealing with so many issues, and one of them, you and I both know, you deal with depression, you deal with
Yes.
cognitive impairment.
Mm-hmm.
But back to the session, we're going to have a number of relevant topics, and again, the topics will be based on what's going on. Certainly, there's going to be an update on what's going on with this COVID virus and what we can do to better
Yes.
position ourselves. And also,
Yes.
we'll be talking about, in the backdrop, we have the president's executive order that really focuses on, and I don't even like to use the word executive order. I like to use the word, it's a set of conditions that have been
Mm-hmm.
proposed so that
Yes.
we can increase and improve patient outcomes,
Yes.
early identification of this disease, offering patients the chance to get more transplants, do home dialysis, trying to eradicate the disease by going upstream. By the
Yes.
time we get to dialysis, there are so many things that can be done beforehand. Early
Yes.
identification, slow the progression, educate the patient is what we need to be looking at. Teach them about
Yes.
the different modalities that are available to them. And if they have brothers and sisters, why not look at a preemptive transplant? And someone said, well, Richard, they don't do that. I said, why not? Why wouldn't you do a preemptive transplant? There's no rule that you have to go on dialysis. That may
No.
be an industry rule, but that's not a patient rule. So
No.
if we have
It's
a
not.
choice, and it's important, patients, part of being educated is understanding what's in your best interest. And you
That's
can
right.
have all the respect in the world for anyone. But if you have a brother or sister, a cousin, or somebody that's willing to donate a kidney to you, and you're clearly headed towards dialysis, and you can avoid going on dialysis, and say maybe your doctors are that keen on that, then I'm going to check with someone else. I want to
Yeah.
make certain that I've
Yes.
explored every single possibility. And I will tell people, if you have everybody's everybody's not good at everything.
No.
And a lot of times it's a judgment call. And if I see somebody and they have an opportunity to get a preemptive transplant, I would say really need to explore that, because if you don't have to go on dialysis, don't do it. You can continue to work, you can continue to maintain a quality of life. And you, Lisa, with your experience, you know all of the things that happen, better than most. You know all the things that happen to you on dialysis. Some of it could be
I know.
prevented.
Yes.
So,
It sure could. It really could.
so, yep. So, in addition to the educate, we've got to do the advocacy piece where we get up and we educate the staff for the various congressmen and senators, because in
Yeah.
many instances, they're just told information that is just
Yes.
patently not in the best interest of patients.
Yeah. Yeah.
Legislation is passed where they would take away our basic choices, under the guise of, well, you're not doing it for us. You're doing it so you can have a steady stream of patients at a facility,
Yeah.
which helps
Yes.
them solidify projections of the numbers. And we're more than
Mm.
numbers, we're people.
Yes.
And
You.
it's
You.
very important.
Yes.
Go
You
ahead,
have
Lisa.
to. You have to. My heart goes out to the community, because there's all this stuff about dialysis, and they see the dialysis in the community, but a lot of people walk past it but don't know what it is. They don't know anything about it. And then you got the people inside the dialysis centers. They don't know about iPro or any of the other places, Urban Health or AKP, because they never got the paper or the poster or the flyer
That's
or
right.
the pamphlet. So we got to get it out to the community, and we got to get it in the center, and then we got to get the families involved, because all of that helps the patient. The patient deal with so much stuff, got so much going on. You might have the ball on this end, but drop it over there. So, and my hat's off to you, because you guys are doing a great job for so many years. You know what I mean? Y'all been around for a long time. You had a celebration and a birthday and all of that with the program. And
Well,
I think that's just
you,
excellent.
you, one of the keys is we have a tremendous staff. Diana Klein's our executive director. She's
Oh,
been with the organization for 15 years.
Wow.
Valerie Gonzalez has been there 14, going on 15 years. So, I mean, it's a real tribute to them that even during the lean times, they committed. We have Erin Kayla, who recently joined us, has spent 13 years with NKF. Now she's come over to work with us and brought that experience with us. So we're just very fortunate to have such a strong team. Paul Conway was past president. Many times the past presidents disengaged. He has remained as engaged as he did when he was president. We've got our secretary, Ed Hickey, who's a veteran in terms of the military and a veteran of Capitol Hill. Dan Abel, who is an excellent vice president that supports our effort. Again, a transplant patient, a businessman in its own right. So we've got a very talented board of directors and set of officers. Jenny Kitson, who's been in the industry for quite a while. So it's a good team. And we just have to, sometimes we have to check ourselves, stay focused, stay the course, because there's so many things that need to be done. So
I remember Dave White
always. Oh, Dave White, kidney warrior extraordinaire.
Oh yeah, our buddy, our friend, right? Yes.
I met Dave many years ago. We started out with the PAC and was able to talk with him and get him engaged with our board of directors. And just a good friend, excellent guy, and really in his own right, just went off.
I work with him now at Rogerson.
You know,
we were friends too.
I was going to say up at Rogerson, doing a great job. So I said, y'all got a good one there. Y'all got a good one there.
You ain't got to tell me. I know him well. Now, who would you give a shout out to? I'm going to end the show. We got another show after, a nice hot burning show coming up. Woohoo! Y'all stay tuned.
Hey, Lisa, I appreciate you allowing me to spend some time with you this evening.
No, I appreciate that. No, but do you have anybody you want to give any special shout out to, or anything you want to say before I let you go? Anything we missed? Anything you want to show?
No, we've covered it all. I just want people to stay positive, to stay focused, to stay engaged, to continue to educate themselves. And even though times may be a little bit difficult, if you look at that cup, always think half full as opposed to half empty. And I'm just going to say, go on our website, join us. It's a free membership, and we'd be happy to have you.
Wow. Woo. Well, I thank you, Mr. President. I truly thank you. You're doing an excellent, fantabulous job. And I just appreciate you coming on here, being a good friend, and just always being a blast. I ain't mad at you here.
Thank you, Lisa. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Enjoy your night. Enjoy your evening. And thank you.
You do likewise. Be good and be safe out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bless your life. Okay. Good night. Well, guys, you have heard it. I had to bring it to you. Didn't I tell you he'd bring it? He has a lot of information, a lot of background, and he has a testimony. He ain't just the president. He was one of us. That's right. A dialysis and a transplant patient. How about that? I ain't mad at you. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening. Be good to yourself. It's Holy Week, so enjoy the Holy Week. Be a blessing to yourself and your family and to your community. Good night. God bless. Happy kidneys. Bye. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 and the kidney one. My girl, and say, this is